The roots of intersectionality theory go deep into mathematics. In the second half of the 19th century, in the 1870s to be more specific, German mathematicians developed what is known as set theory. Set theory is an attempt to comprehend, to explain the behavior of elements which are grouped together in sets. A set is a group of elements. The elements are distinct, the elements are well defined, and the elements together form the set. One of the major set operations that the German mathematicians developed was intersection. Suppose there are two sets and there are elements in both sets, and there are some elements which are common to both sets. That is intersection. In order to understand intersectionality theory, we have to see what this intersection is. For starters, I would like to clarify that intersectionality theory and not intersection theory or intersectional theory is my preferred term. This is because intersectionality is a much wider concept, and intersectionality means the condition of being intersectional. Intersectionality does not merely mean intersection or relating to intersections, but to the condition of being intersectional. We are in intersections. We consist of intersections. And this theory is about that condition. It is impossible to speak of intersectionality theory without mentioning Kimberly Crenshaw, the professor of law, civil rights advocate, scholar of critical race theory, who developed intersectionality theory to begin with. Intersectionality theory arose as a response to what can be called vulgar feminism. We frequently use the term vulgar Marxism to speak of a Marxism which is very orthodox, which is very simplistic, which refuses to be sophisticated, which refuses to be nuanced, which refuses to modulate, which refuses to modify, which refuses to take into consideration the facts and circumstances. The Marxism, which, for example, believes that economics is the base and everything else is a superstructure, whatever be the circumstances. Similarly, I think we can use the term vulgar feminism, which again is simplistic, naive, refuses to be nuanced, sophisticated, sees everything in the terms of binaries, man versus woman. And this vulgar feminism is basically white feminism. This feminism refuses to factor in race. This feminism speaks of the rights of women as if women form a monolith, as if women are a homogeneous community. It is in response to this that intersectionality theory arose. Intersectionality theory arose also in response to the Black Power movement, where again the black identity is something homogeneous. The black community is something of a monolith. But here, what about black women? Gender is not factored in. While in white feminism, race is not factored in. In the Black Power movement, Gender is not factored in. Is the experience of the black woman identical with the experience of the black man? Certainly not. It is in response to this that intersectionality theory arose. Intersectionality theory is an attempt to analyze, comprehend, and explain human experiences of marginalization and oppression using a complex paradigm of overlapping dimensions. The theory believes that human identity is not monolithic or homogeneous. On the other hand, every human identity consists of a number of dimensions, and these dimensions overlap or intersect one another. These dimensions can result in privilege or oppression, in centrality or marginalization. And in order to truly understand the nature of the experience to which the individual is subjected, one has to take into account all these facets of his identity, all these dimensions of his identity, which intersect or overlap one another. Thus, the overlapping dimensions of the individual's identity, the intersecting facets of the individual's identity, results in a complex grid of privilege and oppression, a complex matrix of centrality and marginalization. What are the intersecting facets, the overlapping dimensions of a person's identity? This is not an exhaustive list, but this will give you an idea of what the overlapping facets of a person's identity are: gender, sexuality, religion, caste, class, age, ability, nationality, race, education, language, occupation, location, personality, political affiliation. Thus, an individual's identity is not homogeneous or monolithic. Rather, it consists of numerous interconnected aspects, numerous intersecting facets, numerous overlapping dimensions that together result in what the individual experiences, be it privilege or oppression, be it centrality or marginalization. Intersectionality theory holds that 1 plus 1 is not 2 but 2 plus. 1 plus 1 is equal to 2 plus. To put it in another way, the whole is more than the sum of the parts put together. We shall take a we shall take a concrete example. A person is black. A person is is a woman. The person who is a black woman suffers oppression, marginalization, discrimination. Before the rise of intersectionality theory, these two axes of oppression would have been analyzed, evaluated, comprehended separately. But with the rise of intersectionality theory, it came to be realized that such a step would be a fallacy. because the final result is a combination of the two. The person suffers, one, because of her race, she's black, two, because of her gender, she's a woman. What is the final result? Intersectionality theory rejects the additive approach. The final result is not an aggregate of the two, but something far more complex. Remember, these two facets of our identity do not exist separately, do not exist in watertight compartments. Instead, they overlap each other, they intersect each other. So, the result of a person being black and a woman is a simultaneous operation of the two facets of her personality, resulting in an experience which is unique and complex and which is much more than the aggregate of the two. There is no doubt that intersectionality theory was a remarkable advance in sociology, in socioeconomics, sociopolitics. The rise of intersectionality theory undermined once and for all the validity of single axis studies of oppression, discrimination, and marginalization. As has already been pointed out, feminism was, for starters, almost exclusively white feminism. Why? Why was it so? Because the experience of the black woman is significantly different from the experience of the white woman. Similarly, the Black Power movement was almost exclusively a male movement. Why? Because the experience of the black woman is significantly different from the experience of the black man. It is intersectionality theory that highlighted the urgent necessity of factoring in the various aspects of a person's identity in order to understand his unique experience of the world. There is no doubt that intersectionality theory is extremely sophisticated, extremely nuanced, and certainly a tremendous advance over attempts to study oppression, discrimination, marginalization on the basis of a single axis. However, intersectionality theory has been criticized as being too broad, too diffuse, too vague. It is true that we have to factor in the numerous facets of a person's identity in order to understand his unique experience of the world. But what is the concrete result of such an exercise? Unfortunately, the concrete results are seldom commensurate with the effort taken on the basis of intersectionality theory.